gathering information that helps forecast the storm.
They are also gathering some important information that will help with future tropical cyclone forecasts with a close eye on rapid intensification.
Now, the research is looking at how the ocean and atmosphere exchange heat, moisture, and energy. And joining us now is Dr. Beth Sanabia, Senior Principal Oceanographer, working on this latest research project. Thanks so much for being with us. Tell us ultimately what the goal is of this project for our viewers.
Absolutely. First, thanks for having me. The goal of this project is to improve our ability to forecast the intensity of tropical cyclones, and we plan to get at that through understanding the interactions at the air-sea surface. So basically what's going on with the wave field in the ocean.
So Dr. Sanabia, I feel like we've known for a while the basics of how the ocean and the atmosphere interact when a hurricane intensifies. You know, the winds blow across the ocean, you get evaporation, goes up, you get condensation, it warms the atmosphere, lowers the pressure, gets the winds faster, and then that cycle just escalates. So what do you want to know more about that we don't yet know about how the ocean supplies the atmosphere with energy?
So the main feature we're interested in this year is the wave field, because the interaction between the swell and the wind waves happens at different angles around the storm in different ways. And so when that happens, it modulates that energy exchange in a different way depending on where you are relative to the hurricane center, and that affects how the storm intensifies.
And I suppose what the current intensity of that storm is, or how large that storm is, or what kind of waves it's producing matter.
Oh, absolutely. And you see that right now with the warnings all along the Atlantic seaboard, right? There are strong rip currents that are possible from the system, and that will play out over the next several days.
Now, what's the role of different observational platforms like what is flown on the Air Force Hurricane Hunters?
So for this particular project, which is funded by the Office of Naval Research, we're interested in that wave field. And as you can imagine, it's important for the ships at sea and the sailors there. In the Air Force aircraft, there are two flights that we flew for this particular storm. One was to deploy instruments ahead of the storm. So we laid out a grid of ocean instruments about 450 miles east of Florida. And then we also flew an in-storm mission where we observed, collected some drop-and-on data over top of those ocean drifter buoys. So NOAA had a role as well. They were scheduled for an in-storm flight with a drone mission over the top of those ocean sensors. And unfortunately, that mission canceled, so we look forward to that next year. But they're currently in the middle of a post-storm transect, or series of transects over the ocean grid right now.
So, Doctor, ultimately, we want to improve intensity forecasts, including the official forecast issued by the National Hurricane Center. So what is the computer modeling aspect of this study, and how would you ultimately get the results of this study into the hands of Hurricane Center forecasters?
Great question. So it'll arrive with the Hurricane Center in really three ways. The first way is that we did some work before this season to make sure that the wave data, so the significant wave heights, as well as the surface pressure data that is collected on some of these drifters, were available to the hurricane forecasters in real time, so that can augment the data sources that they already have. Secondly, we transmit this data to the operational centers that produce the model forecast that the Hurricane Center uses. And then third, the analysis of the data afterwards, which will take many months to figure out, the processes and the prioritizations that we can potentially improve within the models so that next year's forecasts can be better.
So, Doctor, we've only got about a minute left, but what have you learned up to this point, or what is it about this project and the models and the observations that give you optimism that it can improve upon the intensity forecast and build upon some of the recent gains we've had?
Oh, super optimistic, because first, the hurricane hunters are fantastic. We've worked with them for a long time. This was the first storm where we were able to deploy such a large array. It was about 150 miles by 150 miles, and that would not have happened without them. And the ability to apply some new technology to that with these drone overflights will be fantastic as well. So combine that with some machine learning, some satellite overpasses with synthetic aperture radar, and together, those things have not been done before. So we're grateful for the opportunity to do this, and we're grateful to the 53rd and also NOAA for flying these missions.
It is awesome stuff for sure. Dr. Beth Sanabia, Senior Principal Oceanographer, University of Washington Applied Physics Laboratory. Thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
How it all works together.